There comes a moment in everyone's life where you must choose. Will you shrink yourself to keep people close, or will you choose your peace, even if it means walking alone? And the truth is simpler. You should never be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of losing yourself while trying to keep the wrong ones. People leave. Losing people is not a sign of failure. It is a natural part of your evolution. As you grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you shift into a new version of yourself. This transformation changes what you tolerate, what you desire, and what you are willing to accept. And when your inner world changes, your outer world responds. People who were once aligned with your old patterns may no longer fit into your new direction. Think about how you outgrow clothes as you age, not because the clothes are wrong, but because you have outgrown the size they were meant for. The same happens with people. Some were never meant to stay forever. They were only meant to walk with you through a specific chapter of your life. When that chapter ends, the characters change too. As you develop clarity, you begin to notice who drains your energy, who brings negativity, who feels temporary, and who stands still while you are trying to move forward. Growth exposes what was hidden before. And once you see the truth, it becomes harder to hold on to people who no longer align with your values or your vision. Losing people teaches you resilience. It forces you to understand that your journey is not dependent on who stays beside you. It teaches you that strength is built not from clinging to relationships, but from knowing when to let them fade. Every person who leaves makes room for you to rediscover yourself, your power, your purpose, and your path. It is painful at times, but growth has never been comfortable. The discomfort you feel is simply the space being cleared for better energy, healthier connections, and a stronger version of you. Losing people is not the end of your world. It's the sign that a new, more authentic version of you is beginning to emerge. Sometimes the people who walk out of your life are not a punishment, they are preparation. Their departure is meant to break you. It is meant to clear your path. Life has a way of removing those who are not aligned with your journey, even when you don't have the strength to let them go yourself. What feels like rejection in the moment often becomes protection in hindsight. The wrong people leave because they cannot grow where you are growing. Their mindset doesn't match the direction your soul is moving toward. Their presence becomes too heavy for the person you are becoming, and keeping them in your life starts slowing you down, draining your spirit, and limiting your potential. So life shifts them out. It removes them quietly, painfully, or suddenly, but always with intention. Their exit creates a vacuum, an emotional empty space that feels uncomfortable at first. But that space is necessary. You cannot welcome new energy when you are overcrowded with the wrong connections. You cannot attract people who appreciate your worth when you are surrounded by those who take advantage of it. You cannot grow with people who are committed to staying the same. The universe always works with balance. When someone leaves, something else is meant to take their place. Someone who values your presence, someone who respects your boundaries, someone who brings peace instead of chaos, clarity instead of confusion, and maturity instead of games. But you cannot receive what is meant for you while holding on to what is not. Sometimes the people who remain in your life block the blessings waiting to enter. Their energy interferes with your clarity. Their limitations become your limitations. Their insecurity keeps you small. Their doubts become yours. When life removes them, it is giving you room to breathe, to grow, to heal, and to welcome those who match your frequency. You will look back one day and realize that losing certain people was the best thing that ever happened to you. Not because you stopped caring, but because it allowed you to discover relationships that bring out your strength, your confidence, your purpose, and your true self, there comes a moment when you realize that no relationship, no matter how familiar, comfortable, or long-lasting, is worth sacrificing your inner peace. Peace is not just a feeling, it is a form of strength, a form of clarity, a form of self-respect. When someone's presence constantly disrupts your emotional balance, fills your mind with stress, or makes your heart feel heavy, their presence becomes too expensive to afford. People often hold on to relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of change, fear of the unknown. But holding on to someone who disturbs your peace will cost you far more than solitude ever will. The wrong company can exhaust you mentally, drain you emotionally, and make you question your worth. Peace, on the other hand, restores you. It helps you think clearly, choose wisely, and grow freely. When someone repeatedly hurts you, disrespects you, manipulates you, or takes your kindness for granted, it creates chaos inside your mind. You start doubting yourself, doubting your decisions, and doubting your value. Over time, this chaos becomes normal, and you forget what calm feels like. You forget that relationships are not supposed to feel like battles. They are supposed to feel like safety. Your peace is a boundary. It is your inner compass telling you when something or someone is no longer good for your spirit. And every time you protect your peace, you choose yourself. You choose to guard your mental health, your emotional energy, and your sense of stability. People may accuse you of being distant, cold, or selfish when you prioritize your peace, but that is only because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. They were comfortable when you tolerated their behavior, accepted their excuses, and absorb their negativity. The moment you choose peace, you break that cycle, and not everyone will like that. But the truth remains, anyone who genuinely cares for you will never put you in a position where you must sacrifice your peace to keep them. Real connections bring calm, not chaos. They bring clarity, not confusion. They bring comfort, not emotional storms. Protecting your peace is not avoidance, it is alignment. It means you value your emotional well-being enough to walk away from what disturbs it. And once you learn how powerful peace truly is, you stop chasing people and start choosing environments, relationships, and conversations that allow your heart and mind to breathe naturally again. One of the hardest lessons in life is understanding that no matter how much love, loyalty, or effort you give, you cannot make someone stay if they have already decided to leave. People who want to stay in your life will stay because they value you, not because you chase them. And people who want to leave will leave even if you give them everything. Their choice has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with their path. You are not responsible for convincing someone to appreciate you. It is not your job to constantly prove your value, justify your presence, or fight to be understood. When someone repeatedly distances themselves, ignores your efforts, or treats you like an option, holding on to them only drains your energy. The more you chase, the more they run. The more you try to fix it alone, the more broken it becomes. Love is not supposed to feel like a negotiation. Respect should not be something you have to beg for. If someone truly belongs in your life, staying will feel natural to them. It will not require pressure, guilt, fear, or endless explanations. Genuine people don't leave because of minor flaws, misunderstandings, or temporary conflicts. They stay because they believe in the connection. When you accept that you are not responsible for making others stay, you free yourself from emotional chains. You stop overthinking every word, every gesture, and every silence. You stop blaming yourself for things you did not cause. You stop carrying guilt for someone else's decision to walk away. Some people leave because they cannot handle your growth. Some leave because they are not ready for the kind of loyalty and depth you offer. Some leave because they are searching for something outside themselves and they don't even know what it is. And some leave simply because their season in your life has ended. And letting them go does not mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself not to hold on to someone who has already emotionally checked out. It means you respect yourself enough not to beg for love from someone who cannot give it. It means you understand that a relationship built on one-sided effort will eventually collapse, no matter how hard you try to keep it standing. You deserve connections where presence is a choice, not an obligation. You deserve relationships where staying does not require sacrifice of your self-worth. You deserve people who choose you willingly, consistently, and wholeheartedly without needing to be persuaded. When people walk away from you, it can feel like a personal attack, a wound to the heart, or a failure on your part. But with time and clarity, you begin to understand something powerful. Loss is a filter. It removes those who were never meant to stay and reveals who are genuinely aligned with your soul. The truth is, anyone can stand you during the easy chapters, when life is smooth, when you're winning, when you're giving. But it is only during the difficult, uncertain, or vulnerable moments that you discover who actually cares, who shows up, and who remains committed. Losing people allows the mask of temporary connections to fall away. It separates the ones who merely enjoyed your presence from the ones who truly value your existence. When someone distances themselves, the moment things get complicated, it shows they were never rooted deeply enough to stay. When someone disappears because you set boundaries, it proves they only liked you when you were easy to take advantage of. When someone leaves because your growth makes them uncomfortable, it reveals that they were never prepared to evolve with you. Loss exposes intentions. It reveals character, uncovers truth. The people who remain after life shakes things up are the ones you can rely on. They are the ones who stay not because they need something from you, but because they genuinely care about your well-being. These people don't run when things get hard. They don't give up on you because of misunderstandings. They don't disappear when you're not at your best. Instead, they show patience, understanding, and emotional maturity. And here's what makes this clarity so important. When you stop mourning the ones who left, you start appreciating the ones who stayed. You start recognizing who deserves access to your heart. You start seeing who brings healing instead of stress, who contributes to your growth instead of your pain, and who walks with you through storms instead of waiting for sunshine. Losing people also strengthens your intuition. You begin to trust your gut more. You become wiser in choosing who to invest your time, energy, and emotions in. Because once you've seen how quickly some connections crumble, you learn to appreciate the rare ones that stand strong. In the end, losing people is not meant to break you. It's meant to reveal who your real circle is, who your true supporters are, and who genuinely belongs in the story of your life. One of the greatest dangers in life is not losing others. It is losing yourself while trying to keep others. Too many people bend their values, silence their voice, shrink their personality, and bury their needs just to be accepted, loved, or tolerated. But the moment you dim your light to satisfy someone else's comfort, you begin disconnecting from the most important relationship you will ever have, the relationship with yourself. When you fear losing people, you start acting from insecurity instead of self-respect. You start saying yes when your heart screams no. You start tolerating behavior that you would never allow if you valued yourself properly. You allow people to take advantage of your kindness, not because you are weak, but because you are scared of being alone. And in the process of holding onto them, you let go of your authenticity piece by piece. You lose yourself when you adjust your personality just to fit someone else's expectation. You lose yourself when you hide your feelings because you fear their reaction. You lose yourself when you sacrifice your dreams to avoid disappointing someone. You lose yourself when you allow others to define your worth through their inconsistent behavior. This is why losing yourself is far more painful and far more dangerous than losing any person. People come and go, relationships shift, dynamics change, but you have to live with yourself every single day. If you lose your identity, your self-belief, your boundaries, and your voice, you lose the foundation of your entire life. When you choose yourself, people might leave. When you speak your truth, Some may get uncomfortable. When you set boundaries, some may distance themselves. When you grow, some may not follow, but every time you choose yourself, respect over someone else's approval, you strengthen your soul and reclaim your power. The right people will never require you to sacrifice your authenticity. They won't make you feel guilty for being who you are. They won't manipulate your emotions or test your loyalty. They will support your growth rather than punish you for it. Staying true to yourself does not push away the right people. It only pushes away the ones who were benefiting from you staying small. Remember, you are the one who has to live with your decisions, your regrets, and your dreams. People may walk in and out of your life, but you are permanent. Protect your identity, your voice, your standards, and your heart, even if it means letting go of those who can't meet you where you are. Because at the end of the day, losing people is survivable. Losing yourself is not. It is human nature to question yourself when someone walks away. You start wondering what you did wrong, why you weren't enough, why they changed, or why they couldn't stay. But the truth is this: someone else's decision to leave says everything about them and nothing about your value. Your worth is not determined by who chooses to stay in your life. It is determined by who you are, how you love, you grow, and how you rise. When someone leaves, it's easy to take it personally. You replay conversations, overanalyze moments, blame yourself for things you didn't cause. But people don't leave because you lack something. People leave because of their own fears, insecurities, priorities, or emotional unavailability. Sometimes they leave because they are searching for something that has nothing to do with you. Sometimes they leave because they are afraid of real connection, real intimacy, or real responsibility. And sometimes they leave simply because they were not meant to walk with you into the next chapter of your life. Your worth is not dependent on someone's ability to recognize it. A diamond remains a diamond whether someone knows its value or not. In the same way, your kindness, loyalty, heart, honesty, and strength remain intact whether or not someone appreciates them. Someone failing to see your value does not mean you lack value. It only means they lack vision. The mistake many people make is allowing someone's departure to damage their self-esteem. You start believing you are not lovable enough, not attractive enough, not smart enough, or not important enough. This is the lie your pain tells you. Losing someone should never make you forget who you are. It should never make you question the qualities that make you unique and irreplaceable. People will come and go throughout your life, but your value stays constant. You are not defined by temporary relationships. You are not defined by emotional abandonment. You are not defined by someone's inability to appreciate you. You are defined by your resilience, your growth, your character, and your ability to continue loving even after being disappointed. The right people will see your worth effortlessly. They won't need explanations, reminders, or proof. They will recognize your value because they carry the maturity and emotional intelligence and awareness to appreciate what you bring into their life. And when you finally meet such people, you will realize why the ones who left were never meant to stay. You are worthy, not because someone chooses you, but because you exist, because you grow, because you try, and because you continue to rise even after life shakes you. Your worth does not decrease when someone walks away. It simply becomes more visible to the ones who are meant to stay. Life has a way of taking things away only to give you something greater in return. But when you're in the middle of loss, whether it's a person, a relationship, or a connection, you don't see the bigger picture. All you feel is emptiness. All you see is the absence. All you understand is the pain of what is no longer there. Yet what you fail to realize in those moments is that life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Every loss is an opening. A door closing in front of you is not a dead end, it is a redirection. When something leaves your life, the immediate reaction is to hold on tighter, to resist, to fight against the change. But the universe removes what is no longer aligned with your growth, even when you don't understand understand it yet. Some losses are simply answered prayers in disguise, prayers you didn't even know you made for strength, clarity, and better days. Sometimes you lose people who were weighing down your spirit. Sometimes you lose relationships that were quietly damaging your self-esteem. Sometimes you lose connections that were stopping you from discovering your full potential. And sometimes the loss you experience is the only way life can push you into your next chapter. Everything you lose creates space. Space for healing, for new energy, for better opportunities, for healthier relationships, and for a stronger version of you. You cannot welcome the right people while holding on to the wrong ones. You cannot grow into the person you are meant to be while being tangled in connections that keep you small. Loss clears the path. It removes what blocks the light, and the replacement is always greater than the loss, sometimes in ways you never expected. You gain wisdom, you gain clarity, you gain emotional strength, you gain patience. Sometimes you gain peace that you didn't even know you were missing. Other times you gain people who value your presence, uplift your spirit, and match your energy. Better does not always arrive immediately. Sometimes the space stays empty for a while, and that emptiness feels uncomfortable, but the absence is as necessary. It teaches you to stand on your own, to rediscover yourself, and to understand what you truly deserve. It prepares you for what is coming, a relationship that aligns, a friendship that feels genuine, a life that feels lighter, or a version of yourself that feels unbreakable. Life replaces everything you lose with something that matches your growth. Not always in the same form, not always at the same pace, but always in alignment with what your soul needs. Losing is not the end. It is the transition from what was hurting you to what will heal you. A detachment is not coldness, and it is not a lack of care. It is the art of loving without losing yourself. It is the ability to hold people in your life without gripping them so tightly that their presence determines your happiness. Detachment is emotional maturity. It is understanding that you can care deeply without becoming dependent, that you can love fully without becoming blind, and that you can stay connected without losing control of your inner peace. Most people confuse attachment with love. They think holding on tightly means loyalty, that depending heavily on someone means connection, and that never letting go means strength. But true strength is found in balance, the balance of giving without draining yourself, caring without sacrificing your mental health, and loving without destroying your boundaries. Detachment teaches you that you cannot control someone's actions, choices, or feelings. You cannot force them to stay, to change, or to love you the way you love them. You learn to stop expecting people to be something they're not. You stop taking their behavior personally. You stop relying on others to fill emotional voids that only you can heal. When you detach, you release the illusion that you can manage someone else's journey. This freedom protects your emotional health in ways nothing else can. You stop overthinking every silence. You stop panicking over every distance. You stop overanalyzing every small shift in behavior. Instead, you develop stability within yourself. You learn to stay grounded even when others are unpredictable. You learn to trust life instead of controlling it. Detachment also empowers you to see people clearly. When you're too attached, your emotions blur reality. You justify red flags. You ignore mistreatment. You make excuses for behavior that disrespects your worth. Detachment lifts the fog. It gives you the clarity to recognize who genuinely values you and who only benefits from your emotional investment. With detachment, you no longer chase answers from people who avoid giving them. You no longer cling to relationships out of fear of losing them. You no longer tie your happiness to someone else's presence, mood, or decisions. You develop an inner strength that allows you to stand firm even when others fail to show up for you. And the beautiful thing about healthy detachment is this: it doesn't push people away. It simply removes the desperation that suffocates relationships. It allows love to breathe, to grow naturally without fear fear, or pressure. The right people stay not because you cling to them, but because the connection is genuine, mutual, and respectful. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of peace. It is the freedom to love without fear, to care without losing yourself, and to walk away when something stops honoring your soul. As you walk forward in life, remember this truth: people will come and go, seasons will change, and circumstances will shift. But your self-respect, your peace, and your worth must remain unshaken. Do not fear the loss of those who were never meant to stay. Fear only losing yourself in the process of holding on. Every person who leaves, every relationship that ends, is making space for clarity, growth, and better connections. Your life is too valuable to waste on people who drain your energy, limit your potential, or fail to recognize your worth. Protect your heart, honor your boundaries, and choose yourself every single time. Because the right people, the ones who truly belong, will stay without you having to beg. And those who leave are not your loss, they are your liberation. Walk with confidence, stand tall, love deeply, but never at the cost of your peace. Trust yourself, trust life, and know this: you are whole, you are enough, and the best is yet to come.